Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Microsoft Office Add-ins community call. My name is David Chesnut, and I'm your host for this call. Go ahead and take a look at the agenda for today. Joining us today is Roying Liang, who's going to be sharing some Word API updates. Also, Raymond Liu is going to be sharing some Excel API updates. And then Igor Ribeiro is joining us to talk about mocking Office.js for unit tests. And then I'll be doing a little bit of discussion around your thoughts and feedback on the community call itself. So as we go along, if you have any questions, just type them into the chat and we'll answer those as we go along. And if there's any questions we're unable to get to today, we post a blog summary of the call, usually about a week after the call, and any unanswered questions we follow up in that blog. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started. And Roying, I believe you're up first if you want to take control.
Thank you, David. Hi, everyone. I'm Roying. I'm the program manager in Office Platform team. Today, I would like to update some new investment in Word API area. As you may know that we've posted the new investigation for Word IDE for a while. During this time, we continuing hearing your feedbacks and the requirements. And we know that there are still strong need to build new features and fulfill new scenarios in Word IDE. So I'd like to share here that we are continuing the investment in Word IDE area. Today, I would like to share some new updates. First of all, I want to introduce what targeting scenario we are looking into. First one is the citation management. So Word is crucial for official and professional documents. We all know that the citation is a key for a professional document. We've had a lot of great ideas who can greatly support those scenarios and provide solutions for people to easily manage their citation so they can add the accurate citation to their document and manage them in future. But now it still have some API gaps for them to support these scenarios. And the next one is about the content insertion. So Word support a lot of different objects. APIs already support many of them, like the tables, table cells, content control, shapes, a lot of objects already supported, but still have some gaps. So now we're looking into those different objects and trying to support more. So the first API I would like to introduce is about footnote, which is a key asset of the citation. For the Footnote API, we will provide the ability to, first of all, add, edit, and delete. And we also can let you to get the footnote from any place you want. And then with that, you can also get the footnote by the sequence. For example, you can get the next footnote or the first footnote, the last footnote. And you can also get it from different objects, no matter it's in a table or in a paragraph or in content control. As you know, that footnote has a reference mark in the document. So the users can get the footnote from the reference mark and can also get the reference mark from the footnote. And as you may know that the document body actually don't include the footnote part. So currently, if you want to set the selection to the footnote, it's not doable. But with this API, you can set the focus to footnote directly, and then definitely you can edit it based on your selection. And last but not least is we support the search function. Currently, the document search, the body of search will search the whole body of the document, but with this API, we will support to search, including both the main document and the footnote. This is a list of the objects we support. footnote. So you can see that the whole object structures are supported footnotes. So you can get footnotes from different level, and the footnote itself we named as note item, not footnote, because it will support both footnote and endnote. For the first release, we will only support footnotes, but in future, the note item can be either footnote or the endnote, and you can get type from the note item.type. Okay, so this is the footnote API. The next one is about the comment. The modern comments, actually, we have the APIs enabled for Excel, and now we are introducing these APIs to Word. The main design are similar, but we also have some difference. First of all, we support to add the comment and add, reply, or edit or delete. As you may notice, you can only edit your own comments. If from adding, it's also the same. You can only edit your own comments and cannot edit other people's comments. And with the delete, you can delete a thread or only delete a reply. Besides those actions, you can also get the comments. And Word has new features to support the comments with rich text. So you can also see, you can have a structured comments, or you can have the URL link in your comments and provide a more reachable experience in your ID. These two APIs are the APIs I'd like to introduce today. We also enabled the bookmark APIs in online. As you may know that previously this API has enabled in version 2. With the new update, we will support it also in Word Online. We have a quick demo to show those how to use this two APIs in the citation management scenario and the comment scenario. So you can see this. Imagine I'm a student. I'm writing a homework. The teacher asked me to write an article. So I write an article about COVID-19 vaccines. After I write the main content, I want to add some footnote for some words. I have an ID which saved my citations. So you can add the footnote into the document, and then you can set focus to check, okay, this is the footnote I want to add. And after I add all the footnotes, I would like to share the document to my teachers. So as a teacher, I'm a reviewer. I want to add some comments to my students. I think this is a network thing, so I'm in my screen is also continue loading, but I can continue to explain what the video is doing. It's the adding the teachers can add the comments into the document, and then after they do that, you can also insert the overall summary of the comments and the grade to the students. So this is the whole experience of edit footnote and the insert comments and get comments. We have a lot of more action support. You can get more details once we have the document released. So I would like to emphasize that the Word APIs are currently released to online first. We will have a requirement set as Word API Online, and those APIs will be only available in online at the first release. And the Footnote API and the Comments API are already in the process of rolling out to beta. So suppose it will be ready in a couple of weeks. Then you can try it in beta CDN with a preview link. So this is the introduction of the new API. And if you have any questions, feedbacks, or thinking of the different scenarios, please feel free to contact me, and would like to talk more. Thank you. Back to you.
Cool, thank you. That's really awesome. I saw from the comments some people are excited about this. It looked like there might have been a question or two in there, Roying, if you want to take a look at the web chat. Next, we have Raymond, who's going to be chatting about the Excel 1.14 preview API.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. This is Raymond. Let me share my screen. So today I would like to introduce the preview API that we're going to release in 1.14. And then I will provide a live demo for Worksheet Protection Changed events, and we show a scenario for that. So first of all, here is the 1.14 API list. That is the candidate that we're gonna release in this Ignite. So which it include the auto filter, which enable you to clear the column criteria, and also it allow you to access the a worksheet tab ID, which is integer ID, and the range precedent API. We have released range to get direct precedent API, and this one will allow you to get a full precedent API from this range. And we also gonna release chart data table API. You can make that data table visible or not visible, and also some other control like a formatting of the data table. And we also provide some more like item or non-object. This can allow you to get non-object instead of get an error exceptional. And last one but not least is the Worksheet Protection Changed events, and I'm gonna talk about this today. So yeah, for how to preview this API, actually, for many of you already know that, but for some of the new to JS platform, you can change that to 1.0 to the beta, and also add the previews to have the intelligence on your API. And so for production events, the design is quite simple. In the worksheet collection, we add a protection change event handler, and with the event arcs. The event arcs will include these 4 things, and the type, worksheet ID, and source is common for all the events. And we have the protection Boolean value to telling whether current status, the protection status is protected or not. And so the scenario is I would like to share you is quite simple. It's also very useful when you're doing this kind of interaction with your worksheets. For example, if a planner he wants to work on very important worksheets, and he will need to very careful for anything they want to make a change on the worksheet. So usually he will do is to protect worksheets, avoid to some unexpected input. So sometimes he forget to unprotect it and then directly using the UI to do the interaction. But at that time, they will see the error message, the throw exception, and then to handle that by the adding. But with this events that adding can be, the status can be controlled in the event logic. Therefore, they can gray out the button instead of the end user making the changes, but without knowing that this is actually not be able to do so. Okay, so I will give live demo, but before that, this is the sample code that you can use. Right now, you can use directly in your Excel. So let me switch back to my Excel. Okay, here is the sample code as I just write it, and which will help me to demonstrate that scenario. So, for example, I'm doing this kind of analyze about the model that our companies sell. So here I want to have doing some interaction. For example, I did as a planner, I just protect the sheets, and then I forget I protect the sheet, and then I doing some changes. For example, I add something, and then of course our API will throw a exception, which is access denied, which is annoying here. But this is a simple demo, but with your complicated demo, customer may need to do a lot of things and then click the button, and then that will very pretty much annoying. Therefore, we actually doing this to make it possible to that event to handle those situations. So I change it to the new behavior. So new behavior is true. Therefore, it can control that. Let me refresh that. Okay, so let me register the events. And okay, so when I protect events, protect the current sheet, and then they will the events will be fired. And in that events, you can gray out this button, and then user will know that okay, what I did, I cannot actually. You can also gray out this one as well, but it can indicate user know that they cannot insert anything to the worksheet to avoid this kind of error. So when you when a user unprotect the sheets, for example, if I doing unprotect sheets, yeah, it can be it will enable the button, then you can use it to change the interact with this worksheet. So that is how you typically use these events in your adding. Okay, that's all for my presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Raymond.
Okay. Yeah.
Very cool to see those API updates coming out. If you have any questions for Raymond, go ahead and type them into the chat. And I believe Igor is up next.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm Igor. I'm currently working for the developer experience team for Office add-ins. And today I'll be talking a little bit about mocking Office.js for specifically unit testing. Office.js is simply the Office API in JavaScript, like pretty much for all platforms, like major platforms for Office. And yeah, on this, we are planning like to help developers in this process of like mocking Office.js for unit testing. And like we really want to have your feedback on it. So first, like there are a few questions that I want to ask, and like I really want your feedback on this. So this is relating to your experience with unit testing with Office.js APIs. So like feel free to answer in the chat, or later I will send some link for us to continue the conversation. So first is like, do you face any difficulties while dealing with mocking Office.js API? Remember, Office.js API is our JavaScript API for Office. So like, do you have any difficulties while unit testing a fit? Like, have you ever tried and like, oh, this is the problem that I face? Do you currently use Office.js API with unit testing? And this is what you find hard about it. So yes, feel free to answer in the chats. Like even if I don't read it out loud, your answer, like I surely really read all the feedback. So like, please feel free to write there. The second question is like, what would you like to help easier the unit test experience? So like, do you really need like something from Microsoft? Like, oh, we need to do something to make your experience easier, or like, oh, we really, if we had that, then our experience would be great. So yeah, this is just like really ask for features, like any suggestions. Like this is very early on. So like, please really share any suggestions that you might have. And the next question is just like, what are some pain points that you are facing? So like, these are like the key problems that I'm facing while unit testing. So like, I really cannot unit test because of X. Like I already tried and like this took a way too long time and like I cannot deal with it. Or like, yeah, I'm already testing and like this is too hard. So like I just thought to not test it or like to just leave it out. So yeah, this is like what you really feel is a main problem that we need to face. Yeah, feel free to answer in the chat. Next, I just want to like talk a little bit of an overview of what we currently understand of our unit test with Office.js. So first, a problem that we have, and like I tried, so like I really solve all those problems in real person. The first is there is no documentation or model to have developed unit test, and mock our Office.js API. And there's not only on the official docs, that's pretty much not anywhere. Like there's no threads or like Stack Overflow or something of people discussing about it. So you're pretty much in the dark on how to test it, which is bad. Other than that, like unit testing of JS is normally harder than other APIs. And I'm gonna list some problems that I have faced. So first, like you actually need to load the API with an HTML file to actually access it completely. This makes sense for like production and development experiences because like you really need to load your add-in, so like in HTML, so there's no problem in it. But on a testing perspective, it's really bad to have an HTML just to be able to access the API, because like this will take some time to set up and like it's just more hassle. Like more problems can occur if you need to do more things than needed. The second problem is that some test APIs require you to mock all properties of a class. So for example, if you are using some public testing API like Sign or Jest, they may require you to mock all the functions of a class, which in Office.js case like can have more than 100 properties. Even though like you are only using 2 functions and you only care about 2 functions, you may have to mock all of them, which is like more than 100, and it's not feasible. And the other problem that I faced is that sometimes it's necessary to account for loads and context sync functions, which are very common in the code, like to load properties and like to sync them with the Office platform. And it's really necessary for you to test where they are, like when they are called. And this is something hard to do with normal unit testing APIs. And yeah, like we really plan on delivering a solution to help alleviate your problems. That's why I'm asking those questions. So yeah, we really want to help your experience in this. So like, please, like help us to share what you have. And lastly, it's just like a call to action. Like I created this Microsoft Tech Community link. It's just like for we to continue this conversation. Like I saw that we already have like some comments here, and like sorry for not reading it all. Like, but be sure that I will read all of them. Like if you want to write a better more bigger comment, like with more context, like feel free to write it later or here. Like I will read it all. And this is just a place that I created for us to continue the conversation. Like I'll be reading it, and we as developers will be seeing it for getting feedback, and we will answer it. So like, please feel free to see this link and like share your stories, share your feedback, anything that you might be developing or have tried. We are really glad like to have your support on it. And yeah, thanks all for like your time and like for letting us start this conversation. And yeah, like now back to David.
Thanks, Igor. Yeah, I see a few folks in the chat are excited to see the conversation about this. Yeah, so that's great. I guess sounds like folks should go just click the link there and they can go continue providing feedback about mocking and unit testing. Should be great. I know it's been an old request because I'm personally on a couple of GitHub threads where folks have been asking for more help around unit testing as well as like automation testing too. So this is very cool. Thanks for that. So transitioning a bit here to community call feedback, I kind of wanted to just chat about the community call for a second while we have everyone's attention. So the Office Add-ins community call has been around for a little over 2 years now. Started, I believe our first call was April 11th, 2018. We've had 34 calls since then, and it's grown to about 100 attendees per call, which is pretty good. And for folks that have been regular attendees, you've seen that we have a fairly consistent types of content. We have preview announcements to say, hey, this API is going to preview. We occasionally have guest presenters showing how they build solutions with Office add-ins, APIs. We also have demos that we do around features and code samples, as well as the Q&A section, which will be coming up right after this segment. So we're kind of curious to get some feedback about how things are going with the Office add-ins community call. And so I just wanted to ask a couple of questions and ask people to just kind of type in the chat and just see what you think. And to kind of help us, we're thinking about the direction of the community call and what things we want to do down the road. So it's really good to get your perspective. And the first question is, why do you attend the community call? It's definitely, it takes about an hour of your time to attend and get information. And, it's very valuable to you, and we appreciate when folks show up. But we're just kind of curious. I mean, obviously there's lots of sources of information. You know, you can go to YouTube to watch videos of features. There's the docs, there's code samples. You know, so what is it about the community call itself that makes you show up? I tend to see what direction Office.js is going. We are in active development of Word add-ins. I'd like to see behind the curtain. Okay, so kind of like looking for a roadmap, kind of getting an early look at things that are coming down the road. Another comment on Instant Preview APIs. Thank you for that. I'm here to learn where Microsoft is headed and see what level of support responsiveness is available. Okay, it's good to know. Thanks for that. Informs me about coming functionality. Good to know. Thanks. I attend the community calls to see what others are doing with Office and SharePoint. Okay, thanks for that. That's good to know. Best practices, roadmap news, feedback from implementation for customers, use case. It's good to know. Thanks. Getting an early look at what's coming and chance to hear directly from the developers. Thanks for that feedback. Yep, we try to have the folks from the team on the calls to help answer with questions and such. I joy to learn about new Outlook API developments and improvements for my team. It's also a great priority lane to get answers straight from the source. Okay, thanks. So connecting with the team. First time attending, working a Word add-in to interact with Word online, trying to overcome some of the missing functionality. Okay, so looking for information. Thanks for that. Main reason is to get an update on the APIs. Okay. Enjoy the live demos and code samples, an opportunity to ask questions if needed. Thanks, that's good to know. Current SPFX developer, looking to expand skills to Office. Okay, that's interesting. Crossing over technologies there. News, demos, everything is super. Thanks, Vid. To see dev directions and be able to act in time. All right, thanks. The community call usually has the latest information on new APIs and plans for release. This is very important to us. Thanks, Daniel. I tend to get the latest information, watch code demos, and the opportunity to interact with the Office development community. Okay, good to know. Thanks. This is my first community call. Just wondering what it was all about. Thanks, Erica. It's always good to show up out of curiosity, and hopefully it's helpful to you. Get quick answers to questions. Thanks. To connect with like-minded developers and help shape the platform with feedback based on experience and get information on important API changes. Thanks, Eric. To stay on the cutting edge to help steer my customers in good directions. I attend to see what is coming up, see what other people are doing, and keep in touch with the direction of the APIs. Thank you. This is my first community call. I started using Office.js this summer, and I'm currently interested in learning the direction Word APIs are heading. It would be nice to have better communication in terms of what's being worked on and timelines. Okay, good to know. Thank you for that. To see what others are doing for future innovative ideas and features. Thank you. It's just a great preview of what is in store for Office 365 add-ins. Cool, thanks. Office is crucial for our work, so any info related to Office and its add-ins to add efficiency to work is a benefit. Thanks. Looking for news on Word add-in development. Okay, thank you. Understanding on how to use the Office products better from a user or business use case perspective. Okay, good to know. Ability to see how to modify the add-ins available and apply them. All right, thank you. Best practices and API updates are also important. I'm in the process of developing the first Office.js add-in from our organization. I would love to have some workshop sessions. Oh, thanks for that. Very interesting. And is there a similar group for connecting with the team responsible for the Office Word online development? Well, this would be the group. We do Office add-ins are for online and Office, unless maybe I'm not quite understanding the question, but yeah, this would be the team. Okay, so kind of a follow-up question to that. Is there any information you feel like you're not getting from the call that you would like to see? See Word web app specifically? So wanting to see more information on Word, I assume add-ins, the Office add-ins in Word. So I would love to see a host by host API development status update. Oh, very interesting request. Thanks, Brandon. Future plans for enabling SPFX development of Office add-ins. Okay, very interesting. Thanks for that. Maybe best practices and deep dive topics. Okay, thanks, Vid. It's very, very interesting feedback. This is it's making me think here. Word, Excel, PowerPoint, etc. Okay. Oh, that's a follow-up. The host by host. Okay, gotcha. Excel enhancements that are coming, not necessarily related to add-ins. Oh, is that more like end-user Excel? Like maybe there's a new, I don't know, feature that's going to appear on the menu or something. If there's no new info for the other Office app APIs, then maybe include a quick summary of what was covered in previous sessions or provide a teaser of what's coming in future sessions or what is actively being worked on that may be a future critical update. Okay, thanks for that. Sort of a building more of a connection between calls, it sounds like. Yes, the word web app has some serious deficiency in terms of functionality. Okay, got it. Specifically around content controls, other than rich text and forms, it would be nice to have a timeline when other types of controls like date and checkbox might be supported. Okay, thanks for that feedback. That's good to know. Let's see, it would be nice to have a roadmap posted. Since some of us are here to get a preview of the future releases, this could be useful. Yeah, it's a great request. I will pass that along to the team. One thing I would like to know is what the call has at the high level beforehand. While the Excel and Outlook updates are great, they don't necessarily apply to me. I'm sure the Outlook and Excel folks sometimes feel the same about Word. Yeah, that's some good feedback there. It's interesting because we usually do a tweet about the agenda a day or two before the call. That's usually when we get the agenda finalized. So it sounds like maybe it would be useful to have an agenda earlier than that if possible. That's kind of what I'm reading from that. Administering, deploying, and managing add-ins. Okay. More demos on Office Online. Okay, that's an interesting request, Russell. Is that as opposed to Office on the desktop, Office on the Mac? In general, things should work cross-platform. So I'm just kind of wondering if there's more to that question.
Hi, David. Just because the functionality online is different, and a lot of the reason, the big push for people moving to Office 365 is to leverage the online platform.
Right, okay. So would it, like an example would be like if we're showing a demo of a feature, like we would show that in Office Online?
Yes, as opposed to the desktop, only just to try and push people more to online and to get them to appreciate that everything does work online. And
I see what you're saying. Okay.
You know, that desktop is not the only option now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. All right. Thanks for that feedback. Let's see. I would like to see how the add-ins work with the Power Platform better without needing to deploy IT infrastructure, but just write the code and run. Okay. Good feedback. Debugging add-in issues from end-user support point of view. Yeah, that's a great request. I've seen debugging requests come up in the past. I know it's like a popular area for seeing more info. What account does that come from? Right, I'm missing some context on that one. Especially issues occurring locally that cannot be tracked via our own backend. Assume this is more debugging. Okay, got it. Let's see, I'd like to see, so I'll try to get back to it. I'd like to see more information about plans for parity between Office scripts and Excel JavaScript API and integration points with citizen developer products such as Power Automate, Power Apps, and Power BI. Okay, great feedback. I agree with the previous comment. Would be great if you publish the agenda for the call in advance of the call. Even 24 hours would be helpful. Oh, that's the Twitter. That was the question about the Twitter. Yeah, so it goes, there is a Microsoft 365 developer Twitter account. I'll have to get the actual address for it and post it here. I'll put it in the summary blog too. So if you follow up on the blog, you can find the link to it. I agree, online does not always work like desktop. Yes. And it's for mobile version. Okay, you mentioned that the schedule was posted to Twitter a few days in advance. What Twitter handle is? Yeah, I'll find that and post. I'll post that Twitter handle in the blog post. That's maybe one of the PMs on the call might happen to have it handy. All right, so next question. So you may have seen this slide on a previous community call. This is some information that came out back around the June timeframe, starting in September, which is this month. Microsoft 365 is moving to a new call format. So the old format's on the left side of this slide, where we have sort of, I guess you describe it as kind of a siloed community call format where everybody kind of has their own community call. So there's one for Microsoft Graph, there's one for SharePoint, there's one for Teams, and of course we have Office add-ins on the Wednesday slot there. And they're kind of at different times scattered throughout the month. So the goal moving forward is to try to simplify things and make it easier for folks so that there's always, same time of the week, same day kind of thing. So Tuesdays basically at 8 a.m. become a Microsoft 365 engineering call, which would be, you could think of that as where the PMs are rolling out some features or preview kinds of information. And then Thursday at 7 a.m. would be more community focused. So that's where you probably see code sample demos or guest presenters or that kind of thing. At least that's the idea. Also, it would be a Microsoft 365 all up. So every call is about something in the Microsoft 365 ecosystem. So it could be Office add-ins, it could be Microsoft Teams, it could be, SharePoint. And the idea is to, tell a better story about, this is Microsoft 365. This isn't necessarily always working in one specific thing. And I personally experienced this, and so occasionally I'll do a demo. Like on the last month, I was doing a demo of showing how to open data from your website into Microsoft Teams and create a spreadsheet and put your Excel add-in into it. And all the technologies used in that were Microsoft Graph and Microsoft Teams and then Office add-ins. And so, it's not always just about Office add-ins or just about SharePoint and so on. So the idea is to make this more consistent and also fit better with the Microsoft 365 technology story. We're looking at going to this format with Office add-ins. I believe like Microsoft Graph, SharePoint, and Teams are already in this call format. There might be a few others in there. We're considering going to this. And so I just wanted to ask, for folks attending this call, what's your perspective on this change? Is this, do you see benefits to doing this? Like, is this going to be helpful to you? Are you concerned this might make it more difficult to get the information you're after? And to be clear, I'm not asking for like a yes, no vote. I'm really just looking for information about like how this would affect you in a beneficial or not so beneficial way. So yeah, give us some feedback on that. Basically, the question is, what are your thoughts on this change? Go over to the chat here. Okay, I see Brandon says, can we join the Microsoft 365 engineering call? So I'm guessing you view that as a beneficial change. We should move Office add-ins into that direction. It'd be great to know if you have something specific about why you'd like to see that. Like the new layout, I assume that's the new Microsoft 365 call layout. Much clearer in layout and reserving time to the call-ins. Pierre, okay, thanks for letting us know. It's okay as long as we know in advance what is happening on any given Tuesday. Oh, it sounds like you're not, like maybe you want to see like a page somewhere that's showing what the upcoming agenda is instead of Twitter. That's Josh, that's kind of what I'm reading from that. So I prefer the once a month for Office add-ins. Okay, it's good to know, Jacob. But if you could give us any more information about why that is, like maybe you only work with Office add-ins and so that's all you want to see. I don't know, but it would help if we have more about your perspective. If it means less Office add-in specific content overall, I don't like it. If it's the same or more, that's great. Okay, that's good feedback. Ideally, it'd be the same content, but it'd probably just be distributed. So like, at least I'm just sharing like what the plan would be if we go to this format. It'd be like one call might have a 15-minute demo on something that's sort of centered in Teams, and then it might go to something that's more centered in Office add-ins. So you could think of, and then maybe the next week there's another Office add-ins thing kind of mixed in with some other Microsoft 365 areas. So that's the part. So, let us know what you think about that. I like the new format, but it would be helpful to know in advance by a day or two what topics or API areas will be covered. We're interested in most of the API areas, but some more than others. Okay, it's good to know. I'm mostly focused on Outlook add-ins, so the current call structure would work better. Okay, that's good to know. So that sounds like you are in that case where this is a specific thing you're interested in. You're not really looking at the other technologies across Microsoft 365. So that's good to know. I think the engineering call would be useful if it is focused on roadmap and new API Office functionality. Okay, that makes sense. I think the number one thing I'm going to take away today is roadmap. I like it, but don't let Office add-ins get lost under the pile of innovations and all the other products. Okay, good feedback. Yeah, there's always a ton of stuff going on across Microsoft 365. Roadmap, again, roadmap star. Any Yammer feed we could subscribe. Oh, interesting. I'm not aware of one, but that's maybe something to think about. A clear agenda would be important. Okay. And so twice a week instead of once a month. I think communicating the agenda ahead of time would be crucial. Okay, good to know. MIP sets up the Yammer feed and it would send the notification on what is the agenda and link to join. Okay, sounds like I'm not familiar with the MIP acronym, so it'd be good to know what that is. We currently do only work with Office add-ins. I also find it easier to find an hour once a month than an hour once a week for something that might not apply even in the same realm. Okay, that's good to know. So that's another case where you're specifically focusing on Office add-ins and a single call would work better for you. Personally, I like the once a month call, knowing that the entire call is dedicated to Office add-ins. I primarily work with Office add-ins, so that is really what I'm interested in. That way I spend less time in meetings over the course of the month. If you switch to twice a week calls, knowing the agenda day ahead, so I can determine which calls to attend would be very helpful. Trying to keep my calendar flexible to be able to attend an extra 2 meetings each week will be a challenge. Okay, that makes sense. It sounds like a similar case where the single call works better for your schedule just because that's the main info you're interested in is about Office add-ins. Would each of the M365 calls have a theme? Microsoft 365 for community calls, I mean. Well, the plan, not at this time. They're really, it's just, it's kind of whatever shows up on the agenda. I mean, there might be we could, if you think there should be some kind of theme, that might be interesting to look at. But right now, it's really just the theme is community, which means it could be a demo about any technology or a guest presenter about any technology. I'm only interested in specifically PowerPoint Office add-in. Okay, and maybe PowerPoint VSTO with interop or VSTO interop. Okay. Oh, the Microsoft Information Protection Group. Okay. I like the new MS365 approach. Seems that changes always hit more than one product. So agenda with what is coming up in 3 15-minute demos with possibly an open question forum after would be good. Okay, thanks. One meeting a month is better for me. Okay, good to know. One last quick question. Just checking if there's any other forums or formats you'd like to see community involvement. Like a while back I was thinking, what if we moved our Q&A to like a Reddit Ask Me Anything, like maybe we just have a once a month on that. And I got to thinking, are there other things we should be looking at? Like I saw Yammer kind of popped up here a second ago. Is that something we should be thinking about? Kind of a pretty open question. I'm not sure. I'm just kind of curious, like where folks are out looking for information, if there's maybe something in addition to the community call we should be doing or looking at changes. So I see Russell's asking, would the engineering call potentially include TypeScript and React stuff? Yeah, it could. I guess it just depends on what's being shown. I mean, a lot of times, if a feature is being shown how to use the feature, it might be shown in the perspective of TypeScript or React. So that could certainly be the case. I see Eric is sharing a document on the requirement sets. Thanks for that, Eric. See, we have a yes for Reddit. Like, do they ask me anything? Good to know. We thought the Word API was no longer under development, so this meeting and showing us what is coming is enough, but I wouldn't say no to a subreddit with more community involvement from Microsoft. Prefer Reddit over Twitter. Okay. Thanks, Jacob. It's good to know. Is Channel 9 used or updated much? I know from Office add-ins, we're not really using Channel 9, but is that something you would want to see?
Hi, David. Just a curiosity question, because I know there was quite a lot of stuff on there a few years ago.
Yes.
With new features and stuff coming out, but there's not so much anymore. I just wondered if that was, I mean, it's quite active with other stuff, but not so much Office add-ins.
Yeah, it's true. I'm not sure. Like we've been posting like these community calls to YouTube as well as like individual demos and stuff, and I've just been kind of following. That's sort of what marketing has been doing. I've never really asked about like, is there a reason we do that? and not Channel 9. So, I mean, I'd have to ask them. But I mean, I would be curious to know, like, if you want to see content on Channel 9, that's good to know.
Not particularly, but it's just another place where there might be content.
Yeah, it's true. As far as I know, I mean, like for Office add-ins, I know we're not putting anything on Channel 9. I want to be careful about speaking about all the other Microsoft 365 areas because I don't know if somebody might actually be publishing to Channel 9 because it's, there's so many teams.
I think your engineering call weekly does make a lot of sense because it might consolidate a lot of different channels and places where people are putting content, so it might centralize things a bit better. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, we would prefer to avoid having lots of locations where the content gets scattered, and then so you might miss something because you're looking at, say Channel 9, but not at YouTube.
Yeah.
So it's better if we can consolidate it. Oh, I see. Dalen's asking where the recording's posted. There's a link right at the end of the slide deck that will show you where the recordings. There's a Microsoft 365 community channel on YouTube. That's where they all get posted. So we have about 5 minutes left, so I need to move on. So I just want to thank everybody for the feedback. Super appreciate all this feedback. It's very helpful for helping us think about the call format going forward and what we want to do and how things might affect you. So thank you for that. And moving along, I want to say thank you to Maarten van Stam, MVP, who's been helping on the PNP Office add-ins repo with reviewing PRs and such. So it's much appreciated. I also want to mention there is a recognition program on PNP, and you can get your own badge if you are a contributor. In the interest of promoting more participation on the PNP Office add-ins, or even our doc repos for that matter, if you go help submit a PR or review a PR, you can get your own badge for being a community contributor. So if you go to that link there on recognition program, that has the details about how to qualify for it and how to get it. So if you're interested, please check that out. And then I just want to follow up on the Q&A. We had a couple of questions come in on the form. So we had one question that said, back in Office add-ins community call back in March, you revealed that admin deployed add-ins would be automatically pinned to the ribbon in Web Outlook starting in April. So we have many customers who've already deployed our add-in before that date, but would now like to have it auto-pinned. However, in our internal testing and testing to my customers, redeployed add-ins are not automatically pinned in Web Outlook. In addition to lack of auto-pinning, we're naturally not seeing the nudge notification. So I checked with the Outlook team, and they said it looks like there might be a bug there. So if you could create an issue at the link there on Office Dev, Office-JS issues, and just give us some information on how to repro it. If we could repro it on our end, we can dig into that more. So just go out there and let us know. And another question that just came in yesterday. So SSO and an add-in in Word in Teams on desktop works if the Word file opens from the files position. However, if the same file is open via assignments, SSO stops working. Additionally, in assignment, the dialog opens the browser from outside Teams desktop, and then there's no communication between the browser and the add-in. And how to deal with such a situation. So one thing is I should mention is that SSO is not supported when Teams is the host. That's something we're hoping to put out as a feature soon. We might have an update on a future community call. So in those cases, you need to use a fallback dialog. But I'm also going to check with the team. I haven't had a chance to check in with the folks working on SSO stuff. Just I want to double check that and also double check the browser popping up outside. So I'll follow up with some more info in the summary blog post there as well. And then just wrapping things up. If you're new to Office add-ins, there's some links here to go check out documentation for getting started. We have these 5-minute quick starts that help you get going quickly and just check out the code and see how an add-in runs. We also have developer resources for the Microsoft 365 developer program, which gives you a free tenant for developing and testing, which is really great. You can also try out Script Lab, which helps you test code without necessarily having to build a project in the context of the host, like Excel. If you have any technical questions, there's a link here to go ask questions on our Q&A forum. You can also ask on Stack Overflow. There's a link there with the tags you can use for that. And then there's also, if you find any bugs in the product, go to that Office-JS link and you can let us know there and let us know how to repro it. We'll look into it. And if you have feature requests or ideas, go to the M365 Dev Suggestions link. You can always send a smile or a frown. And here's the link. This will take you to that Microsoft 365 Community YouTube channel that folks are asking about. This is where we post all the recordings as well as the demos. Afterwards, you can also follow us on Twitter. There's the Twitter handle, at Microsoft 365 Dev. That's where we post the agendas shortly before each call. So the next call will be October 13th at 8 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. And there's the link there if you don't already have the invite to the Office Add-ins community call. And if you have a question ahead of time, let us know on the form. There's a form you can fill out with the question at aka.ms/Office Add-ins form. And then we'll bring those up in the next call. So we're at the top of the hour. Thanks everybody for attending. Really appreciate all the feedback, and we will see you on the next call.